Good morning, students. So today's topic will be fading in wireless communication, and we will be focusing on small scale fading. Okay. So in the previous lecture, I have already told you about the difference between large scale and small scale fading. So our lecture was limited to here only. Okay, or I should say here to here. So types of small scale fading we have not dealt with. All right, but large scale trading being a very simple difference, simple what we call categorization, the reason why large scale trading is being caused, we have taken these two. So large scale trading is over, and the description of small scale trading is over. Okay. Now, if you notice, to today's section, we will be focusing on this portion. Again, we will revisit what is small scale fading. We will study what is multi-part delay spread. We will study what is Doppler spread. We will study how, because of delay spread, flat fading and frequency selective fading is being caused. What are the meaning? What are the significance of these conditions? Okay, and what are the significance of these conditions? And what is Doppler spread? So today's lecture will be of high importance, and the CO2's most important topic, fading channel, we will be dealing with. Okay, and it will clear all your concepts. So let us move forward. All right. So I will start from this. This is the small scale fading types. So first of all, what causes small scale fading? It causes because of multipath components. Okay, and large scale is being caused by huge building. Always notice that in large scale fading, when we are observing fading, time span is high. Okay, for example 15 seconds, 20 seconds. All right, but when we are calculating small scale fading, the time span is very small. Okay, uh, or in the other words, we can say in large scale fading, when we check for fading, we roam around a very large distance. Okay, but for small scale fading is less than 1 meter. Okay, so you can clearly say by little bit of movement is there in your receiver. Okay, and there is some kind of signal variation, it will fall into the category of small scale fading. Understood? So small scale fading is caused by multipath component. When we transmit a signal, some building will come in between. See here, okay. Some building will come in between, and it will be reflected. Even though if building doesn't come, what will happen? This will be one path. Other signal will hit this building, and it will come here. In that case, also there will be multipath component. Okay, so remember, signal doesn't travel in a straight line. In diagrams, you will see signal being drawn in a straight line, but signal travels in the form of wave. So it will hit the different type of buildings around, and there will be scattering, there will be diffraction, there will be reflection. So automatically, what will happen? The single signal will be converted into multipath component, and at the receiver side, when they reach, they will overlap with each other, form constructive and destructive interference. Okay, and they will be fading because there will be signal fluctuation. Okay, so whenever there is a signal fluctuation, we say that fading has occurred. Now we will jump into the detail of small scale fading. Now this is a very important chart. Okay, why this is a very important chart? Because it gives the condition. Okay, and it categorizes small scale fading in different types. Okay, so small scale fading can be categorized into two. One is small scale fading caused due to multipath time delay spread. Okay, small scale fading, another division is based on Doppler spread. Okay, now this is the first particip party what you call, it is the first categorization of types of small scale feeding. This multipath time delay spread causes two types of feeding: flat feeding, frequency selective feeding. Similarly, small scale feeding caused due to Doppler spread can be categorized into two: fast feeding and slow feeding. Okay, now we will focus more on the conditions. Then you will get an idea why uh, fast fading is occurring, why slow fading is occurring, what is flat fading, what is frequency selective fading. Okay, now you see, focus on this. This we will see later. Okay, what we'll focus on is first type of small scale fading, that is because of time delay spread. So there is a two types of fading. One is called flat fading and another one is called frequency selective fading. Now apply your common sense and tell me which fading is more dangerous. You can write it in the comment section. Now I will tell you the answer. This is more dangerous, or it is likely to have more negative impact on the signal as compared to flat fading. Why? Because can you see the way flat means all frequency component are faded equally. Okay, so if there is a ball and you reduce the surface area of the ball in all parts, so the size of the ball will reduce but it will still remain spherical. Understood? Because you have reduced in symmetric manner. Understood? But what is this? This is frequency selective fading. Means some frequency will be suppressed more or suppressed or faded more. Some will be there will be very less fading in some frequency component. So this is more dangerous because it is creating problem in different frequency components. So the signal structure will change. Just like I have given the example of a ball here also, if you change the surface area of the ball of one side and other you don't, will it look spherical? No. Understood? So what this flat means, we are equally treating every frequency component equally. So the signal shape remains intact. But here some frequency component will suffer more fading, some will be less. And when we see the signal, its shape will entirely change. This would mean that our information is affected more. Okay. So now we will be moving more into the detail. Now focus on this condition. What is this called? Bandwidth of a signal and bandwidth of a channel. So when a bandwidth of a channel is more than bandwidth of a signal, it will cause flat fading. As I said, flat fading has got very less effect. It doesn't cause much distortion. And from the condition also you can clearly see bandwidth is what is more. Now and the bandwidth of a signal is less. How can you transmit a high bandwidth signal into a low bandwidth channel? It will be a problem now. That problem is seen here, which is having a more fading, more what you call dangerous fading. All right. Now you must be saying, sir, why we are keeping this condition to transmit high data rate. We have to obey this sometimes. Okay, so there will be more distortion, there will be more less bit error rate, but what we will do is we will add few redundant bits to check and correct errors, but we will get a very good data speed, data rate. That is why sometimes this condition comes. Now, in the coming topic, we will study this condition and the delay spread and the symbol period. Okay. Now, what is delay spread? See here. This has traveled more distance, this multipath component. This has traveled least distance, isn't it? Almost a straight line. This has also traveled some distance, but more than this one, but less than this one. Point is clear. Now you observe. A signal will reach faster than other multipath component because it has traveled less distance, so it will come faster. Na? You see, more close to zero it is this one. So very less delay. And why I have kept amplitude high? Because these have traveled long distance means it will have more losses, so amplitude will also go down. But since it has come directly, it has got sufficient power, so amplitude also I have kept high. Right? Now this is C. This has traveled a very long distance, so it will have a very high delay. So it is lying in the corner, extreme corner. Okay, and this one will be in between. So here in the between. So a signal which has traveled larger distance will have lesser amplitude because path loss will be more. Okay, so what is delay spread? Delay spread will be this minus this. Okay, so this is the time axis now. So this minus this time minus this. Understood what is delay spread? Okay. So as I told you, flat fading means all frequency component of a propagating signal are faded equally. Frequency selective fading means some portion of frequency component is faded more as compared to remaining frequency component. So remember, we are here only. We have not jumped into this. Okay. So flat and frequency selective should be clear by now. Now we will focus on the conditions. Now you see, this is your flat fading characteristics and this is your frequency selective fading characteristics. Now recall, you must have studied in your control systems that signal f omega into multiplied by h omega gives y omega, or in time domain it is like xt convolution of ht gives yt. Okay, so we will not go into the convolution, we will go into the multiplication. It will give you a better idea. So frequency domain of signal multiplied by frequency domain of transfer function of the channel, which is nothing but impulse response, okay, gives us output. Now you see here, this is the condition for flat fading. Na? When you multiply fading, when you multiply this with this, what is happening? This top portion is being multiplied by a constant. This is a constant, na? If it is in triangle or something, then there the equation will be not constant. It will have some power. Okay, like in parabola and all circle also, the x square plus y square, some power will come. But since it is straight, it is a constant. So anything multiplied by constant will give anything. Understood? It will be have some amplification or reduction. Point is clear. X square multiplied by 2 will be 2x square. So x square identity is maintained. Na? So this is the reason whenever bandwidth is high as compared to this signal, we will get undistorted signal and we call it as flat fading. Now you observe these almost same. Na? As I told you in flat fading, it has got less effect. Okay, so let us go back to the condition. Flat fading, bandwidth of a signal should be less than bandwidth of the channel. That is what happening here. Okay, this bandwidth is small and this bandwidth is very high. So bandwidth of a signal is less than the bandwidth of the channel. So we get flat fading. Now let us see frequency selective fading, which is more dangerous. Now because it is more dangerous, what will happen? We are transmitting a high bandwidth signal into a low bandwidth channel. Let us see in the diagram, and we will focus more on the frequency domain, because here I have to talk about convolution, which will make things complex. So studying from frequency domain will be very simple. Okay, so again this multiplied by this will give this. Now this time this bandwidth is more. See, so it has been expanded. Channel bandwidth is less, so this is less. Once we have multiplied, this is what we are getting. Now you can clearly see. Can you see the change of shape of the input signal? Here the shape has not changed, so we say that effect of fading is negligible or very less. But here the shape has changed drastically. Look at this. What we are getting here? Completely changed. Look at this. What we are getting here? Completely changed. Okay? Why it has happened? Because of this. This channel bandwidth is less and signal bandwidth is more. Alright? So, what is this tau? Tau is the delay. Remember, when we are characterizing a channel with delay, we put tau. Okay? So, I think it is clearly understood that why here this condition is being given. Now, another condition. Delay spread should be less than symbol period, and delay spread should be greater than symbol period for frequency selective fading. This I will show you with the help of diagram. Okay. Now you see, first we will see that why this condition is occurring. Okay. This we will see. So I have drawn this diagram in such a way that inter-symbol interference is happening, or it is the case of what you call frequency selective fading. Okay, so that you can easily visualize. So this is a transmitted signal, and these are symbols. So what is the symbol period? This. Okay. So here I have kept it two symbols, S3 and S4. This is the symbol period. Now I have transmitted. I have considered that after transmission, it is converted into multipath component, and two multipath component is being obtained. One multipath has support from a delay tau 0. Another multipath component has support tau 1. And the condition is that tau 1 is more than tau 0. Okay. Now you see, I have simply replicated this transmitted signal here and added the delay. Similarly here, this is, remember, this is a received signal. Again, the same component with a delay. Okay. Now what receiver will do? See here, when the receivers come, they will add, the receiver will add 1, 2, 3. In our case, there is only two components. So after adding, what will happen? S1 is mixing with S0. So this symbol is interfering with other symbol. Na? What will it give? It will give rise to inter-symbol interference. They are interfering with each other, different symbols. Now if S0 has overlap with S0, then it would have not been a problem. but S0 is overlapping with S1. So this arrow will give you the correct idea of which symbol is overlapping with what. Here S1 is overlapping with S2. Here S3 is overlapping with S2. Here S3 is overlapping with S4. Clearly there is an inter-symbol interference. Why? Because different symbols are interfering. Now I will ask you a very important point. Assume that tau1 and tau2 is almost equal to 0. Almost. What will happen? You shift it such that make like this. As soon as they almost become 0, you will observe that S0 is matching with S1 and S1 is matching with S1. S2 is matching with S2. So what does it mean? It means that inter-symbol interference is depending on difference between tau1 minus tau0. Because when they both become equal, they are exactly overlapping. And as soon as there is a difference between tau1 and tau0 increasing, inter-symbol interference is happening. Different symbol is interfering with different one. Okay, so receive signal will delay tau1 and tau2 at the receiver signal will be adding. Okay, one can see symbol S1 is adding to S0, S2 is adding with S1. So we can say it is a inter-symbol interference. But when we have assumed that they both are equal, so it will tau1 will be also equal to tau0 means this will be shifted here. Okay, say almost equal, don't say equal, almost equal. So once they have become almost equal, exactly what happened, S0 is overlapping with S0, S1 is overlapping with S1, means there will not be an inter-symbol interference. It gives clear idea to us that inter-symbol interference will be dependent on tau1 minus tau0, and this is what written here. Okay, this is the case of inter-symbol interference. Ideally, if S1 of R1 interferes with S1 of R2, then there will be no inter-symbol. For ISI to occur, difference between these two should be less than symbol period. This one. Okay, you can do your mathematics by yourself. You draw this diagram again, make them almost same, such that tau1 minus tau0 is very less value. And you make t more, you will find that inter-symbol interference will not happen. And you will see S0 will overlap with S0, S1 will overlap with S1, then not a problem. There is no problem. But to avoid ISI, if tau1 minus tau0 is more than t, this is the more, I think here okay, you don't consider this. Actually, inter-symbol interference will occur in frequency selective. All right. So you can say that you remove this ISI, you remove. Okay. You clearly say flat fading will occur when this condition is met. Okay, and frequency selective will occur when this condition is met. Okay, so and you remove avoid here and put avoid here. Okay, so make this small change. The rest is thing is correct. Okay, so this is correct and this is correct, and this avoid should not be here, it should be here. To avoid ISI, this condition. Okay, and for ISI to occur, this condition. Okay, now we will again go back to the condition. See, flat fading delay spread is less than symbol period. Let us check. Delay spread is less than symbol period. Clarity. Okay. Delay spread is more than symbol period. Frequency selected. Delay spread is more than symbol period. Frequency selected. And through diagram also I have proved that how this difference will be causing intersymbol. Whenever there is intersymbol means more drastic spread. More means frequency selected. Okay. So now next topic will be what? So this is over. I have taught you through bandwidth of the channel concept also, through delay spread and symbol period also. Frequency selective also we have dealt with, bandwidth also, and with delay spread also. Now our next topic is what? Based on Doppler spread, another type of fading. First we will see what is Doppler spread. Now see, whenever receiver is moving or transmitter is moving or both are moving, what happens is that the received frequency will not be same as transmitted frequency. Point is clear. Sometimes the frequency will change. So whenever whenever the mobile is moving away from the transmitter, receive frequency will be Fc minus Fm. Okay, and whenever moving towards the transmitter, it will be Fc plus Fm. Understood? So Fc minus Fm and Fc plus Fm. Okay. And the frequency Fm is equal to nothing but v by lambda. V is what? Velocity of that moving body. If your mobile is moving means you are sitting in a car means velocity will be the car velocity. Okay. Theta will be the angle made by the signal as well as the moving object. Point is clear? So we will observe that now when theta is equal to 90, it is in circular motion. What will happen? This entire thing will become 0. So Fr will become Fc. This will become 0. Understood? So basically we have understood that whenever our object is moving, mobile is moving, received frequency will be 2. Means the frequency can be have different components, but 2 will have the highest magnitude. One is Fc minus Fm, another one will be Fc plus Fm. So this will be having the minimum, this will be having the maximum. Okay? You can clearly see this is the Doppler spectrum. Okay, can you see? Doppler spectrum is a different frequency spectrum will be coming, and this is the spectrum where all frequency component will come. So what is Doppler spread? Doppler spread is a measure of spectral broadening caused by the time rate of change of mobile radio channel. Okay, and is defined as the range of frequencies over which the received Doppler spectrum is essentially non-zero. See here, there will be various frequency component that will be emerging. Now this is what is being transmitted Fc, but sometimes this frequency component will come, sometimes this frequency component will come, sometimes this will come. So this all range where Doppler spectrum exists will cause spreading of the spectrum. Understood? Transmitted signal was Fc, but received signal is from this, ranging from this to this. So Doppler spread is spectral broadening. You can clearly see Fc has been broadened to this. So what we have learned that due to mobility, Doppler shift has happened in frequency, and due to Doppler shift, Doppler spectrum have come, which is in the expanded form, which has led to time varying channel. And anything with a time channel is varying means it will cause fading, and that fading will become under small scale fading under Doppler spread. Okay, so again I will revisit you in that chart. See, now you see types of small scale fading when it is caused by Doppler spread. Fast fading means high Doppler spread. High Doppler spread means more spread. More spread means there is more speed of vehicle. That is why this is having a very large value. So more speed means more fading. Understood? So more fading will cause fast fading only, na? Hope it is clear. High Doppler spread means more range of frequency. More range of frequency means speed of the car will be very high. Okay, because frequency shift is depending on the speed. See. Okay. So when speed of the vehicle is high means fading will be more. So fast fading will be caused. So now it is being justified why high Doppler spread causes fast fading. A low Doppler spread would mean that speed of vehicle is low, frequency shift will be low, so it will cause slow fading. Now the new terminology, coherence time. Now you must have heard that so many new terminologies are coming. Now what is coherence time? See, coherence time is the statistical measure of the time during which the channel impulse response is essentially invariant. Now those channel which is changing very fast, we say that its coherent time is less. If those channel which is changing slowly, for some time they are having a fixed characteristics, then suddenly their characteristics is changing. So, but it is having a fixed characteristic for significant amount of time. We will say coherence time is high. Now you see, coherence time is inversely proportional to Doppler spread. Now again, here a very important concept. High Doppler spread will mean more fading. More fading will mean less coherence time, and less coherence time means time channel will be less stable. Understood? And a less Doppler shift will mean more time, coherence time, and more coherence time will mean what? More stable. So more stable means less Doppler shift, Doppler spread. All right. So now this condition also you can clearly see. Coherence time when it is less than symbol period. Understood? Then it will cause fast fading. Means we have made coherence time very less as compared to symbol period. So automatically there will be more fading na, because our channel will be less stable. But here coherence time will be more. Channel characteristics remains stable in sufficient time as compared to symbol period. So it will be less fading, slow fading. Alright, so in this chapter of this session, we have considered all the equations and we have seen a lot of diagrams and we have learned a lot of things. So types of small scale fading is about two reasons. One is multipath, another one is Doppler spread. Okay, you can revisit these topics again. You can see my video again, and then I think if you go through again, your doubts will be completely clear. Okay, So this is it. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments.